and welcome to the Females in Motorsport podcast. We are recording live today at the 6-hour Lone Star Le Mans at Coda. Now, motorsport is often called a traveling circus because all the teams quite literally carry, of course, the drivers, but also the team personnel, the freight, all across the world. And in a series like WEC, where you're traveling to 8 different countries across the season, there's obviously a lot of work involved. So today we are joined by two of the women who are basically running this show from BMW M Motorsports Team WRT, Claire and Meike. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Hi.
I'm going to give a quick intro about both of you because you both have had such illustrious careers in this industry. So let's start with Claire because Claire is, wait for it, a former professional high jump athlete.
Yep.
Who has won many medals with her highest jump recorded at 1.94 meters. And for American fans, that's about 6 feet 3 inches. That's 1 foot taller than me. I'm just putting that in perspective. And at Team WRT, you're the logistics and travel coordinator for LMGT3 in the FIA World Endurance Championship. And then Meike here has actually had 10 years of experience in this industry. So she's a motorsport veteran and she's worked with big names like Hyundai, Wolf Oil, and now BMW M Motorsport, as she's the team coordinator for the manufacturer's hypercar program in the WEC. What an intro. Welcome both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
How are you guys feeling about the weekend?
I mean, good. It's gonna be nice. The weather here is quite
very hot. Yeah.
Very hot.
Yes.
So humid. So yeah, we'll see. But the
Yeah.
guys feel good. So hopefully we'll be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, something I have to start with is that you both have had obviously very different careers and very different paths into the world of motorsport. How would you say your unique journey has led you here and helped you build a career in motorsport? Let's start with you, Meike.
Yeah. Well, I'm just very passionate about motorsport, so I've always known as a kid that I wanted to work in motorsport. I started studying German just because I knew, Germany is like one of the big industries with automotive. So, yeah, I just always knew I wanted to end up in motorsport. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. First, I thought about journalism. But then, I just started looking into jobs and found a very nice job at Hyundai. So that's how it started. I think it just came from my passion for cars and motorsport.
That's amazing that you just knew this is the industry and then you kind of reverse engineered it for yourself to be like, okay, how do I work in this industry? How do I make this my life? That's really, really cool. Because I think a lot of people struggle with that, to be like, okay, I feel a passion for this sport, but I don't know which is the right path for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to figure it out while you go through it. I'm still excited when I see our car and when I see the other cars, or even when I see the support series, I get so excited.
Yeah.
So I think that's great to be this excited about something you do every day.
Yeah, it's such an adrenaline-filled sport. Yeah. And then Claire, pro athlete, I need to know how this happened for you.
Well, I don't even know myself. No, honestly, I know nothing about motorsports, and this was not it's not my passion or anything, but I did a master's degree in event organization, and so I had my track career at some point as an athlete and then studies, and then when I was done studying, I was like, okay, now I need to find a job. And lucky me, I actually the story how I end up in WRT is quite funny because I was coming back from a track meeting in France, and I was in the train station in Paris, and I was quite lost. And I was just like, okay, I need to find someone to help me.
Yeah.
And I just asked a random woman carrying a trolley with her. I was like, do you know how to get to the North Station? And she said, no, I don't know, but I'm going to take a taxi, so just come with me. I jumped in the taxi, and it was Kathleen Schumann, our CEO. So this is the whole story.
It's a great start in logistics.
It is a great logistics.
Story. Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah. So
and then you just build your relationship with her
she
from there.
gave me her card, and I think a year later I sent her an email like, hi Kathleen, I don't know if you remember me, but I was
We shared a cab together.
Yeah, exactly. That's legit what I said. But yeah, in the end, I think as an athlete, my journey wasn't like a casual one, I would say. So I wanted to have a job that leads me to do stuff different, I would say, and to have the behind the scene of sports events, you know. And so I guess at some point it was a match with the WRT.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's like a meant to be kind of story. That
Yeah, honestly, yes, I believed it. I was like, this was meant to be. So I just need to try it and to give it a shot, and we'll see. So
that's amazing. Now, obviously, when you think of WEC, you have to think about the 24 hours of Le Mans, and you both obviously do the travel and logistics of it. How in the world do you plan for a 24-hour race? What are the logistics that you have to keep in mind that is, let's say, different to a 6-hour race like we're at today?
Well, from my side, it's not that different.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter if we do 24 hours or 6 hours. But the big difference in Le Mans is that we stay on site for 18 days. So
wow, yeah.
I think this is the biggest difference. That it's such a long event with prologue testing and everything. The huge setup we have in the paddock. Everything is just bigger in Le Mans. Everything is more complicated as well because it's such a huge event. So many teams, spectators. The organization is different from WEC. So this makes it different. But for me, it doesn't really matter if we have to stay awake for 6 hours or for 24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm more tired during a 24 hours race. No, I mean, honestly, that it was my first 24 hours also, so it was quite challenging. And again, as you said, when you have 18 days of meetings, I mean, the race is the last 2 ones, so you're exhausted already from the 15 previous days. So that's one thing that's quite difficult, and also just basic logistic, but the food for the guys, you need to make sure during the 24 hours they have enough food, like you have to stay in the box with them in case I don't know what. So it's more challenging and consuming, I would say.
So you are like up and about for like 24 hours.
I think I had 2 hours of sleep in the back of the truck.
Oh my god,
something
that's
like
crazy.
that.
We had more sleep, sadly.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately.
This is something you don't want to
No,
have.
you don't want to sleep.
It was actually, much more exhausting and much more sad than the year before when we stayed awake for the entire race.
That's insane.
Because when you have
so
to
what do you
retire
do is like
your car,
loading up on coffee, like.
I mean, it depends on. Let's say you leave the hotel on Saturday at 7 a.m. You go back to your bed on Sunday 11 p.m. something like that. And during the day you have to deal with all the guests, with the catering, with all the trouble. Then you have the night. Then you have to look for the guys to make sure everything is fine. They have food at midnight, at 3 a.m. and stuff like this. And then you have another day, another new day with again all the guests, everything, and you're exhausted. So it's just like.
But I feel like the worst is just in the morning on Sunday.
Yes.
Because you keep going through the entire night on adrenaline, and you're following your race, especially if it's going well. You're like, okay, let's do this. But then at some point, after not sleeping for a night, and it
all comes back then,
there is one point where you just need to push through, and then and then it just works. Then you're just in this rush, and then the race finishes. There is so much else to do than finding golf carts or.
Don't talk to me about the golf cart situation, please.
I think in Le Mans the biggest challenge after the race is to find the golf carts.
This is something I have also experienced. I've experienced it at Kota last year when I was here. There's no way to find a golf cart, and it's such a big track. There is no other way to get anywhere. And it's just walking 30,000 steps in a day. I'm sure you guys are doing even more, but it's so exhausting.
Well, I put air tags on our golf carts.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Well, they're hidden. They're hidden away. But
that's a trick. That's a trick.
This helped a lot.
That's actually really smart, though. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Saves a lot of time.
Yeah. Now, motorsport is, like we were talking about, described like a traveling circus. And the fact is that with WEC, there's also so many different countries you travel to. There's Fuji, obviously, coming up now. You've been to Qatar, Brazil. Have you noticed, just in your experience, working with different countries, different vendors from different countries, anything that you've learned from that about different cultures or just the working with different types of people?
I feel like everyone is so happy to help. It doesn't matter where we go, if it's Japan or Brazil or wherever you go, even if they don't speak your language, everyone is trying to help because I think they're also enjoying to work with racing teams. Mm-hmm. Everyone has been super helpful from Qatar until Bahrain. Also last season, I haven't had any country where I felt like people were not happy to see us.
Yeah.
So this is really nice. I think sometimes the language barrier is a bit of a struggle. I would say Brazil and Japan are more difficult because I don't speak Portuguese or Japanese. But everyone is super helpful, and I think also within the team we have a lot of different nationalities. So, of course, you need to adapt a little bit, but I think everyone's just happy to be here because,
How do you manage the language barrier? Do you guys usually go to someone local, or it's just like we'll see how it happens?
Yeah, local person always helps, but otherwise there's Google Translate.
Yeah.
And the app is actually really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
So
have to
yeah,
be
last year in
scrappy.
Japan we didn't have a local helper, and I just had conversations through my Google
wow.
Translate app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to be scrappy sometimes
Yeah,
and just,
yeah.
get it
It-
done.
It's always good to have a local, like in GT, I had a local logistic helper just for myself in Sao Paulo, and it was really nice because Brazilians don't speak that good English, and it was really a good help. And even if, when you have an emergency, they know. I mean, they're local, so they know everything, and so they're really a great help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think more than the language, sometimes you just don't know how to get it done,
Yes.
like what the organization
Yes.
is, what the system is. So I'm sure having
Yeah.
somebody on the ground is always more helpful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you learn a lot. It's always nice when you are with these people. You get to know them, their culture. You have a nice talk, and no, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they know where to go for the right pizza
Everything.
or
Pizza, pizza is a situation. Yeah.
race day pizza
Yeah.
or just like certain pieces or cables
Yeah.
or connectors.
Yeah, connectors.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to barbecue yet in Austin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Terry's Black Barbecue we went to.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it's a good one. I mean, it was good. It was different.
Yeah.
We don't have this in Europe, but
Yeah, the barbecue is very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard a couple of different recommendations, but anybody you ask in Texas, in Austin, they'll give you a different recommendation, which is I love that because like everybody has their own favorite, their own neighborhood favorite. Yeah. Now, Claire, this is something I was thinking about, is that not just in motorsport, but in many other sports also, a lot of pro athletes go to the organization side and become presenters, comms people, anything like that. Is there like a stigma attached to that? And B, is this something that like, you wish you knew about that going earlier, or something that you think helped you because you were a pro athlete to join the world of motorsport?
I mean, I think when you're a pro athlete, you just look to the best performance possible. I used to travel a lot, so being in a motorsport, traveling all around the world, it's fine for me. Like I'm used to it. So I think it does help. Even if I know nothing about motorsports, I know how event like this should run, I would say. And yeah, I mean, I know for sure that I want to stay in the sports industry. It doesn't matter which one, but I just want to stay in it because I like the mentality, I like the passion. Everyone is passionate. Everyone is giving the 100% for it. And yeah, I think during my interview with the CEO to get into WRT, that was a strong point because I know it as even if I don't know motorsport, I know how it runs, how it goes, and
You
yeah, I think it's
understand like
good.
the mental state that
Yes.
you need to have.
Yes, everyone is giving 100% of themselves to everything. Everyone is fully dedicated and passionate, and so it's good. And also, when you're traveling so much with a team, if you have a good team spirit, and luckily we do have a great team spirit, it's great. It's just a big family traveling everywhere, having the same goal, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because it's a very difficult industry to work in. You're obviously working very, very long hour days, always with each other. So I always say this, that you have to have a very specific type of mindset to be working in any kind of a sport for that reason, because it's not a regular 9 to 5 job.
No, if you're looking for a 9 to 5, don't do motorsports.
Yeah. And then, Meike, I know for you, your experience obviously and your background is a little bit different, but you've been in the industry for 10 years now. And something we get asked a lot of females in motorsport is, how do you get that first job in motorsport? Do you have any like words of wisdom or recommendations for something like that?
Yeah, when I get asked this question, I always say like network, contact people on LinkedIn, look at all the job boards, websites, newsletters, and just try to get a first contact, because once you're in, you get to meet so many people everywhere, and it's so much easier once you're in. So it's just to get those first contacts and yeah. I send a lot of spontaneous applications. I asked a few people, and yeah.
Something I've also heard a lot of people say is that people are mostly more willing to help you than you would imagine.
Yeah,
like
for
I think
sure.
sometimes people have a they're not sure if they should like waste someone's time, bother someone else, like will they be helpful. But even I've noticed in my experience that if you just build a relationship, people are more excited to help you than you originally thought they would be.
And
Yeah.
even, what is the worst case scenario if you're not even trying? Just try and you will see. Worst case, you have no answer. Okay, fine. And maybe you have a good news. So
Yeah,
just try.
that's a really good way to think about it, because you're right. Like, what is the worst thing that can happen? Yeah. I also think a lot of people just kind of feel like with sports, because it's like such a difficult industry to crack. But to your point, once you're in it, you end up networking so much because you're spending so much time with yourself that it's really just about getting that first role in, and then I'm guessing it becomes a little bit easier after that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was in WRC for 8 years, and then I came to WEC last year, and my first race I was quite nervous. I was like, oh my god, it's a completely new environment. And then you actually meet people you met in WRC, because those people also moved on, and in the end, like, you see a lot of people in another team, in another organization, but you see them again. So yeah, it's like one big family and one big community, I would say. So
Yeah, I've also noticed this, that even in the WEC paddock, in the media center, a lot of people, they obviously work across many different series. And it's the same within the teams as well. I've met so many people this weekend who worked in F1, in IndyCar, and I find that very, very interesting. That, to your point, like, it's so much easier to move around. And then you maybe also know what you like to do, and then that way you can build your career from there.
Yeah, and even it happens unexpectedly as well. Like, I didn't expect to go to Wolf Oil, but it was through the contacts in WRC. Then I got in touch with Jonas from WRT. Then I already knew some people at WRT through other teams and people, and also through other people who introduced me to their friends. And
So things can just change on a dime.
It just happens organically, I think, once you're in. But yeah, to get the first step, just contact people, talk to them, go to events, speak to them, volunteer, network. Yeah,
I love that. Well, thank you so much both for joining me on the show today. I feel like there was so much to learn about just building a career in motorsport, and also especially because you both come from such different backgrounds. I think it's really interesting because there's really no linear path then to motorsport. Like, there's so many different ways you can enter the space, and I love that you both were able to share your own journey with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.